Hello and welcome. Today we're going to have a look at Access Education Finance for multi-academy trusts. We start with Access Workspace. We click on our 9-dot menu for Access Education Finance. I then see a list of the sites within my multi-academy trust. On the left-hand side are our codes and our chart of account structure. Access Education Finance is fully compliant with the DFE chart of account structure, and we can import that as standard view as part of the implementation process. This functionality ensures that any edits and changes are made once and subsequently pushed out to all of your schools. If I wanted to add in a new PE cost center, I add my description, I choose the group that this falls under, and then I'm able to choose which establishments I want this to be visible to. I can select all establishments or just certain sites. In this example, PE as a cost centre would only be rolled out to Tech College and Aldgate Academy. I can then save the changes. I can also create ledger codes and allocate these to an establishment, as well as mapping our chart of account structure across the multi-academy trust. We would decide which bank ledger codes map to which particular cost centres and click Map. You can also unmap them here. And we're able to have a look at the summary of our chart of account structure across the multi-academy trust by clicking on this View Summary tab. You can also export everything out to Excel. The central control continues when we start to have a look at things like our VAT codes and supplier catalogues and customers. We are able to put some controls in place to determine who and what our academies can see and use. Things like preferred suppliers can be defined here. So now we continue with the system setup. We can set and control everything people can do across the multi-academy trust in the user and access profiles. Within an establishment profile, we can add a new user and choose their entitlements. They might be able to view a cost center, for example, or create and edit a transaction with an authorization amount of, say, £1,000. You are now starting to create your scheme of delegation for your transactions at a central layer that can be pushed out across the multi-academy trust. This is where we start to control our approval thresholds and default settings behind the scenes. There are a number of things we can do here. For example, set our purchase order prefixes. Ensure things like our purchases have standard aged creditor and aged debtor periods. Verify the details on the bank account across the multi-academy trust. One of the key features of our software is the DFE Annual Accounts Return, which links directly through to the IDAMS website. Within Access Education Finance, we can create journals, including a central journal across the whole multi-academy trust. We can easily add a new journal, populate the details, add in credit or debits, descriptions, and choose the establishment. You can also import a journal line. So if you have a journal built in Excel, for example, you can easily add that into the software. You can save your progress and come back to these at any time. I can set invoices across a multi-academy trust by supplier by identifying purchase orders at each individual site. And I can then roll this up into a single central invoice and assign it to the relevant school. In this example, there is an invoice for YPO for Access Tech College, and another one here for Sycamore Primary Academy. Access Education Finance is pulling all the information together to create a single invoice. We can add in attachments to support the line item. Once I'm happy with that information, I can submit, and that's ready to go. From central invoices, I can now move on to central payments. I can do central backs runs, pulling information from the schools as well as from the central trust. Once we've made our payments, we want to be able to reconcile Access Education Finance. Here you have two options. We can either do a manual reconciliation, or we can use electronic bank statement reconciliation. We can control period end across all sites. So, onto the reports. Access Education Finance has a whole host of reports, and the system is set up for group reporting. We can look at our standardized trial balances, balance sheets, payments practice, and a performance report. We have various different management report formats, including a consolidated management report, as well as a consolidated cash flow report. Onto some of the returns that we can do through Access Education Finance, such as the SOFA Assistant and the Academy's accounts return, which, as we have mentioned, links through to the IDAMS website. We have various different VAT reports, so if you are VAT registered, you can use the VAT return. You can also use the Making Tax digital functionality that is available through Access Education Finance. But if you are not VAT registered, you can also do a consolidated VAT 126 report. Finally, our analytics piece that links into Access Education Finance. I can see our MAT income and expenditure. I can see things like our customer income, as well as our supplier turnover through into consolidated aged debtors, aged creditors, a consolidated trial balance, various different invoice overdues, occupancy costs, staffing costs, as well as our group income and expenditure ledger code groups on VAT by period. I can also drill down for more information. So if I wanted to have a look at this customer information, I can click into it, drill down, and see all of the school spend. I can then drill down again and it gives me all the different transactions that are making up that spend. You can drill down into any of these graphs to access more information as and when you need to. And that's a high-level overview of Access Education Finance for multi-academy trusts. If you have any questions or you'd like to know more, please contact us. access.education@theaccessgroup.com.